Hey gang, Mark LeBlanc welcoming you back to the Alley Cat Workshop. I'm currently working on a dining room table. This is the underside of it. The top is made out of maple, bird's eye maple, and I've got a backing of 1/2-inch plywood, so I'm working on this right now. And I should have a video on this in the next couple of weeks. It's an interesting build, and certainly it's turning out to be just beautiful. As part of the project, one thing I needed to do was to break down some sheet goods, namely the 1/2-inch plywood, but also at some point in time, I need to square off both ends of this table. And in order to do that, I can't use my table saw, obviously. My plan was to use my circular saw. Now, in the past, what I've done is I've used a straight edge, right? Nothing spectacular about that. And this is the straight edge that I've used in the past. Unfortunately, a couple of problems with it. One is it's broken. The locking clamp, there's a piece of plastic that fell off the last time I used it, and well, it's not so solid as it used to be. The other thing that I didn't like about this is that the locking mechanism actually went on the side. I don't know if you can see this, but you know, as you lock it, the handle goes on the side, and sometimes I got in the way of tools, which was a pain. And the other pain about this was measuring the offset and actually figuring out, well, if my saw blade is X inches away from the straight edge, you know, where do I put the straight edge? Anyways, it's not the end of the world, but there's got to be better out there. And I think I found something better. I ordered it, it came in this week, and let me walk you through what I bought and walk you through why I bought it. All right, what you're seeing before me is the Bora NGX system. And here's what the whole kit came with. The first thing is it came with 2 straight edges. This main one, and there's an extension, which this one here is 56.5 inches long about. And the second one, it's an extension. They screw in together, these two, and this is another 50 inches. So if you use both of these, you can easily accommodate sawing a large or a sheet good in the length. You would have enough support to be able to do that. So that's the first piece, are the straight edges. On these straight edges, and you're not going to be able to see this necessarily, is you have this non-chip strip that gets not screwed, but it gets glued onto the back. It's self-adhesive, so you glue it onto the back of your straight edge. And the first thing that you do when you install this is you use your track saw, or sorry, your circular saw, to cut a strip in this, and that will give you your 0 point for your future cuts. Another piece that came part of this is a T-score. So the way that this works is that and I'll show you this, you attach this to one of the ends of your track saw, and you can hook it over the top of your piece of wood, and it squares off your straight edge. Really useful, and I've checked it. The squaring effect is actually very accurate, so no problems there. There are these 2 clamps. I haven't played around with these very much, but what these will let you do is set up the track saw at an angle on your workpiece. Again, pretty useful feature, but I don't think it's something I'll use very much. But I'll bet you the first time I use it, I'll go, I'm glad I have it. And finally, the main piece of this whole puzzle is this here. This is the NGX Portamate saw plate. It accommodates pretty much all the circular saws that are out there on the market. There is a guide that lets you validate if your saw is going to be compatible with this. And it's pretty versatile. I did have some issues setting it up, and the aim of this video is actually to walk you through some of those lessons learned and some of the things that I did learn in setting it up and using it for the first time. Now, there are other systems out there. There are top end, some actual track saw systems. Festool comes to mind. They're pretty expensive, and I didn't want to spend the amount of money for something like that. I already have a circular saw. I don't use it very often. So I've got that one tool. I want to be able to use it more, not less. Another system that I looked at which is less expensive than Bora. It comes from Craig. The reason why I chose Bora is that Bora has an attachment for a router plate, so you can accommodate your router into this plate, use it with the system. It's a little bit easier to set up and to organize than using just a straight edge with your router. So eventually I'll get the router plate as well, and that's the main reason why I looked at Bora. Okay, so let me walk you through some of the lessons learned. The first thing was setting up the saw on the plate. I did have some fun. I'll walk you through that. Cutting away the non-strip chip. The non-chip strip, I'll get that straight. There's a trick to it. I found out the hard way, so I'll walk you through that. There's another thing that I realize is holding the saw while you're cutting, just to make sure that you're holding it properly to get a nice straight edge. And also how you measure your cut line. There's a little detail that you need to think of. It's minor, but it's important. All right, so let's go through the setup. All right, so here's a close-up of the Portamate plate, saw plate. The first thing to mention is that out of the box, it comes with this particular guide on the right-hand side of the plate. You can, with a 3mm Allen key or Allen wrench, you can just unscrew a couple of screws here and place it on this side so that this could be used with a left-handed saw. My saw is right-handed, so I don't need to do anything. The first thing you need to worry about is aligning this particular guide either up or back so that your saw will extend beyond this particular line, this line right here, at no more than 3/8 of an inch. Why? Because the non-chip strip is 3/8 of an inch wide, and you want to be able to cut just into that in order to get the non-chip strip to work properly and also give you proper alignment when you're doing your measurements. So I had to move things a little bit further back, and when I install my saw, the blade guard has to be up as well. It's like I can't just move it back down. Now, I did talk to Affinity Tools. They're the ones who make this product, and they told me that that was okay. It happens that you might have to set up your saw that way. It's not exactly, it's a little bit scary, but it's okay. All right, so here's my saw. One thing that I noticed made it easier is that if I unlock it and I move the plate as far down as I can, it made installation a little bit easier. And let me turn this around so that you see how this works. So I'm gonna move these clips as far up as I can. I'm gonna move my saw onto the track. Once you're dialed in, that your measurements have been taken, you just need to move your saw into position and clamp these guys down. And that's it, you're good to go. So getting this alignment so that your blade extends no more than 3/8 of an inch is really key. Now, one thing I want to point your attention to are the instructions. They are, the instructions are completed just with pictograms. This is what it looks like. This is step number 1, putting either the right-handed or the left-handed saw plate, putting your saw into place, adjusting the back and forth, the back alignment, and then you get to step number 4, which is locking everything up. And I want to point your attention to this particular pictogram. When I called Affinity Tools, I specifically asked them, what does this mean? And if you look at this, the only guess that I could make, and it was a correct guess, was that your saw blade has to be parallel with the edge guide, and that's what this thing meant. The lady at the phone did not know firsthand, so she inquired, and I was in the end right. But I'll tell you, I looked at this long and hard for a very long time, tried to figure out what do they mean by this, and it wasn't very obvious. These instructions, I would qualify them as being core. Now that I've done it a couple of times and set it up, I feel better about it, but at first, I'll tell you, didn't like him very much. All right, in order to dial in your saw with the non-chip strip, what you're being asked to do is to do an initial cut with the strip installed against a board. Now this is the setup that I did. Believe me, it was not on my table saw, it was on my bench, but now that my bench has got a lot of stuff on it, I'm just using this to show you what the simulation looked like. Because the non-chip strip wasn't supported for most of the way, as soon as I engaged my saw, it detached and I had to stop. So what I did instead is I used a piece of scrap, which was, if you look at it, almost the entire length of the straight edge, and I made the cut. You see it right here, and that zeroed in my non-chip strip. Now, why bother with this? Two reasons. Non-chip means that you'll get a nicer cut. Second thing is that when it comes time to making your measurement, and the beauty that is that all you have to do is line up the edge of the non-chip strip with your cut line and you're good. You don't need to do anything else. There is one thing you do need to worry about. Your saw blade, the kerf, will take some of the material out. So you have to, for example, if you want to cut a piece of wood 12 inches wide on a piece of plywood or anything else, you need to add just a little bit for the kerf of the blade. In my case, my blade is 1/8 of an inch, so I need to make a cut at 12 inches 1/8, and then I'll get the exact 12 inches that I need. So, last thing I want to share with you is how to hold the saw properly. One thing I found out is that it's not that this thing is wobbly, but because of the weight of the saw itself, the plate has a tendency of going this way. So what I've done is just make sure that you're applying a little bit more pressure on the front right edge, or the front narrow edge, front left edge if you were left-handed, in pushing the saw through. It makes for a really, really nice cut. You want to see it? Let me give you a quick demo. Two things that you might have noticed is as soon as I finished my cut, I released the power trigger and I let the saw stop before I moved it outside. Because the blade guard isn't in place, I just don't want to take a chance. The second thing is as soon as my saw was laid down, I unplugged it. It's just too dangerous having no blade guard and a tool that's powered up. You just never know. So, what does it look like? That's actually a really beautiful cut. It's nice, straight, and the other thing too is there's no chips. Folks, I hope you enjoy this. Click that like button, give me a comment, tell me what you think, subscribe if you haven't done so. Hopefully this was useful for you, and I'll see you soon.